Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Happy Blood and Beans. Good morning, Scotland Serenity. How are you? Well, good afternoon for me. Morning for some. Feels like morning. Just another day of a stream about nothing. I'm still waking up. My daughter is still asleep, and my wife is on the couch resting, lying down, watching Star Wars.
Bye-bye.
Hello, Queen of Dragons. How are you? QD. Lover of Wolves. Good morning / afternoon. Got to catch up on a couple of things this morning after this little live stream here, and then hopefully the rest of my Sunday should be nice and relaxing. Yesterday was supposed to be nice and relaxing, but it wasn't. Last night was fun. I wouldn't say it was relaxing. But yes, having fun, listening to music, dancing, laughing, that it is relaxing, I agree. But I mean, like, sit around and play games or watch a movie relaxing. And I did do that for a while yesterday. Which was nice. Having dinner? Interesting. What's for dinner? Good morning, Christine Baker. How are you? Happy Sunday. And I lift my cup of coffee and cheers you all. Oh, sweet, sweet, sweet caffeine. Now, Confronting Evil was supposed to come out yesterday, and then the story that came out yesterday was supposed to come out this coming Saturday, but I reversed them because Confronting Evil is going to take a little bit more work to put together, and this week was unbelievably ridiculous. The amount of work I did, the kind of work that I was doing, and the problems I've been having getting paid. It had me a little bit stressed, and I just did not have the time to work on Confronting Evil this week. So I went ahead and did Joe Dog 93's story first, because it's just a little bit easier and a little bit shorter to put together and whip up. So, but the new Confronting Evil is coming this coming Saturday. Voice actors, all of them just got me lines as of yesterday. So I am all ready now to get it read and put together and stuff like that. And I do think that you'll like this one, especially the ending. A big smoked sausage, good and quick. That does sound good. And for dinner, that sounds like an amazing dinner. If that's not a Scottish dinner, I don't know what is.
Haggis.
Well, that too. But just a big old smoked sausage for dinner. That is awesome. Oh, Christine Baker, don't we all? I believe I'm out of coffee. I actually have to go buy more today. I might go get eggs. Spent a good portion of my afternoon when I was done running around yesterday. Like I said, I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom. I beat it like a week or so ago. But I have still so much stuff to just freaking explore. So I spent my day yesterday going through those 3 floating mazes in the sky. That was the thing. That took up a good chunk of time. But
It's fun to watch.
No, it was fun to watch. And my wife, she was sitting there watching me. Then we did the premiere. I went back into the game room. We put on music and we hung out until it was time to play Mario Kart. We all played Mario Kart at like 11 o'clock. Much trash talking between friends. Much trash talking.
I thought Uno was better.
There's so much love in Mario Kart, I swear.
Shells and...
Turned that off. I hung out for a little bit longer, and then I decided, I was like, my back is done. I'm ready for bed. Kind of overdid myself at work this week a little bit much. And, just fine. I don't mind overextension a little bit. I'm still here, so I'm just gaining muscle and losing weight and getting better in shape. So, I mean, that's fine. But I was so sore I couldn't even stand up after work on Friday. And,
no, he couldn't.
and
I did feel bad for him.
and most of Saturday. Like, I'd stand up out of my chair, but my body would just stay in the sitting position. I could not fully stand up at all on Friday and the beginning of Saturday.
My dad used to call that rigor mortis.
That was horrible. And I love my boss, my old boss, nice guy, and he did exactly what I wanted him to do. You know, he at one point offered me more money, and he said he was going to give it to me anyway. I told him, no, don't worry about it. I don't want more money. I just want more work. He didn't, and I honestly think he just forgot. He's a great guy. He's very forgetful. But that's fine. I didn't want more money. I just wanted more work, and he got me more work. I started a new job, well, same job, just at a new place, on Monday. But what he told me is that he's like, I'll text you the job site, and I'll text you the phone number for Nick, and you'll be all set for Monday. And I was like, okay. So I go to work. I'm working all week. And I find out Thursday I've got paperwork to fill out, and it's tax forms and insurance information. I'm like, well, wait a minute. What comes to find out is I've not only switched job sites, I switched companies. My boss did so good on keeping his promise that he's not making any money off of me at all. He has no skin in the game on this job at all. He just put me out with a different company to keep me working until it's time for me to go back and work with him. I didn't know that until Thursday, the day before Friday, and I usually get paid on Fridays. And my boss, previous boss, whatever, he paid on the week. So you work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you get paid for that week on Friday. The last day, so there's no holding back a week. When I switched to a new company, which I was never told about, I also didn't know that they were going to be holding back a week. So I found out Thursday that I'm not getting a paycheck at all this week, after a short week for Christmas, a short week for New Year's, and then another short week last week because I couldn't work Friday. Then this week I get no paycheck at all. So when I filled out my paperwork at work, I also just put down live check because I didn't have my bank information on me. At least I didn't think I did. That was Thursday. I filled it out. Friday I go in and I like, you know what? I think I would like to set up the direct deposit. Is there any way I could still do that? I'm like, well, yeah, but you won't have it for next week because I need the paper and I don't have any papers on me. I'm like, all right. And then I talked him into working Saturday. And I was supposed to work Saturday, and he was going to show up with the paperwork, and I was going to fill it out. But then Saturday got canceled because there was no mud on the job, no material to do the job. So I couldn't work Saturday. So I on the way home, I was like, you know what? I said, if the bank is close, I said, I'll just use whatever bank you use. I won't have to worry about setting up a direct deposit. What bank do you use? And he's like, the First National Bank of a town that is an hour and 15 minutes away. It's a credit union, and they only exist in that town. So if I get a live check, I have to, next Friday, when I have even less gas than no gas, I have to drive the hour and 15 minutes one way, hope I get there before the place closes, and hope that they cash my check after that. And then otherwise, the only other option I have is deposit the thing in my bank and let it sit for 3 days. Or Saturday morning, get up bright and early, drive all the way to this guy's house, which is an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes away, just to fill out a direct deposit form, and then drive all the way back. And that's what I did yesterday, just so I could ensure that I get paid this coming week. It's been stressful. Hot water lines in the house have been frozen since yesterday, but it's like 0 degrees outside, so I mean, unfortunately that does happen from time to time here. Not all the time, just depends on how the wind is.
Happens once a year.
Yeah, usually once a year. Um, so it's been a thing. This week's been a challenge. I've been working really hard on this new job as I want to show this guy what I can do. And it's all level 5. And if you don't know drywall finishing and taping and stuff, it's all Greek. You're not going to understand what that means. If you do know drywall finishing, you know that entails skim coating the entire wall, not just screws and flats and the other seams and stuff like that. It's the entire wall that you have to skim. And because it's a pre-existing wall from a historic building where the outside, the exterior wall has to be rehabbed. Can't knock it down, have to maintain the old wall for historical preservation. It's all got to be level 5 twice. It's got to be skim coated 2 times. And that's what I've been doing at work all week. I have a lot of sanding coming up tomorrow. The good thing is I was able to borrow money off of my old boss, who's soon again to be my actual boss in a few weeks, and my father. So I was able to have money for gas and, a few essential supplies for the house and stuff like that. So I am able to keep the ball rolling. I am going to go get coffee in a little bit. I got my smokes, and house is warm. Belly's full. So, yeah, and clean. Very clean house.
I took out all our insulation.
No, it's okay, Christine. Weather happens. Like I said, house is warm. We still have running water. I still have heat. I still have, you know what I mean? I have everything that I need to survive. And above all that, the gas tank in the car is full. And it doesn't even take me, I work 15 minutes. This job actually, in that respect, if I can get things, the ship balanced out and floating correctly again, this job's awesome. There's so much sheetrock to go up on the walls. It's just framing. There's 3 floors of it framing in this big building. It spans the entire width of a block. And it's 3 floors where the exterior wall all has to be rehabbed and skimmed on top of all the new sheetrock that's going up. There's a lot of work here. And there's more work coming up after this job, too, that, the boss wants to get me to, which is why he put me here to begin with. So it is nice to have work this close. And this specific job it's 15 minutes away. I don't even have to take the highway. It's right there, right down the road and a little bit through the south part of the city, and that's it. This one's a college. It's a historical college for College of St. Rose in Albany, which is the capital of New York State. So it's John, the apprentice. He's from South America. He's a really nice kid. I do like him. Though he called out Friday because he was upset that he didn't get his paycheck. And he says it was because he was moving stuff into his new house. I can promise you, I was talking to him on Thursday. I can promise you right now, that was half the reason. He's a great kid, though. I like John. And he doesn't come down into Albany much. So when he gets down by Lark Street, which is it's the college street where all the bars and delis and pizza shops are, and the kids all hop, bar hop and stuff like that at night. There's a park right next to it. It's where they host events and Tulip Fest for Mother's Day and all kinds of things. So it's a really good section, Washington Park. It's a good section of the city. It's a nice section. So John goes down there and parks, down where the residences are, all the apartment buildings. And he's like, oh my God, it looks like Queens, because everything's it's so nice and old fashioned and tall trees and everything looks real nice. And it does. It almost has a very Queens aesthetic look to it. And, but it's a nice job. It's a nice place to work. It's all, yeah, I know it's all historical. All those buildings are historical. That's why it looks the way it does. It looks like you stepped into a different part of time. And most of it looks really nice because it's upkept. But it's a nice place to work. It's a good place to go out and grab something to eat on coffee break. There's 10 foot to the deck and no hard ceilings. It's all going to be drop ceilings. So again, it's a drywall finisher. That's nice. I don't have to do ceilings. That's going to be good. those can be a pain, and especially if that's all you have to do is ceilings. Then you're just staring up all day, trying to do masonry work basically on the ceiling above you, and it hurts. The job's heated, so it's warm. It's January, and I'm doing drywall finishing, and it's warm where I'm working. That's completely unheard of. Like I said, 15 minutes from the job, 15 minutes home. A lot of perks. A lot of perks. Like I said, so it'd be nice if I got my check a little sooner, or if I knew. Like, tell me. Tell me, I'm gonna. And again, in all fairness, old boss, did tell me he forgot. Like I said, he's a bit forgetful sometimes. He told me he forgot to tell me that this wasn't his job, that he is not going to be the one paying me. I will be switching payrolls. I didn't know that, and he does feel bad. I told him, listen, it wasn't that big a deal, because this whole transitioning from getting paid on the week to getting paid after they hold back a week is something I should have been prepared for, and it's something that I knew eventually was coming, and I was going to prepare for it. I just didn't know it was happening then. But the good news is now is once this is done, I'll have that conversion. I'll be in it to win it normally. And when this job in particular ends, I'll get 2 checks. One of those checks, though, is going to get stuck aside for when the next job ends with my other boss, because he pays on the week. This job isn't 1099. I don't have to wait and save up money and pay taxes and stuff at the end of the year. It's back on the books, which is good. It's because if I can stay on the books, other boss said he was going to make his company not 1099. He was going to do it legit, hopefully soon. And if that happens and I stay on the books, if I get laid off, getting on unemployment will be much easier. In New York State, I did look into it. You can get unemployment as a 1099 employee, but you have to prove stuff and this, that, and the other thing, and I imagine that takes time, especially dealing with the Department of Labor. These are all things that I think about. I would like to get back on the books and have a legitimate paying job eventually, which would be nice. But again, I didn't ask for any of that. I asked for more work, and that's what he gave me. He gave me more work. Spray man. So they were doing texturing ceilings if they were spraying. If they were spraying it on, they were doing knockdowns, popcorn ceiling, something like that. That's actually kind of similar to what I'm doing with the walls with level 5, because I'm rolling it on with a paint roller and then skimming it off. And granted, the finish I'm leaving is smooth. It's just smooth glass wall. But in theory, you could take that rolled joint compound on the wall and you could, stamp it or whatever and create that popcorn look or knockdowns or whatever. Yeah. It's something I went back to. As you guys, most of you know, I worked in an office for 7 years. I did this for a long time. When I was Sociopathic Pasta on my other channel, I worked construction. I actually have a few construction stories. Go figure, right? What you know. I did this for a long time, about 15, 17 years. And the last 7 years, I was in doing construction. I was also going to school for a bachelor's degree and then a master's degree. I eventually, after I was going to school for my doctorate, when I ended up kind of falling into a project coordinator position for a construction company. So kind of like a halfway stepping stone. Still working with construction, still doing construction, still hiring and firing and managing construction workers, but just not out on the job doing the construction myself. I did that for about 6 years. Went to work for an energy company installing electric vehicle chargers. They used me and burned me for 6 months until the work got slow, and fired me illegally. Actually, they fired me while I was out on sick leave with RSV. They actually fired me while I was gone, turned off all my devices and told me about it when I went back into work, which is very illegal. But I wasn't going to fight them on it because I was offered a good reference if I needed to use them as a reference. And what that is basically blackmail. You're going, if you don't say anything, I will give you a good reference. And a reference from us, a very respectable energy company, could work out well. But if you say something, we're going to tell everyone you were just a piece of shit. So I, said okay. And that was the end of that. And New York State screwed up my unemployment for 3 months after that. And that was actually confirmed by the head of the Department of Labor when my wife fought for it and got it 3 months later. But during those 3 months, I had no money. And I took the first job I could get, which was as an employment specialist for a hiring agency, I guess. They hire all kinds of people, though. Office workers, trade and construction workers, warehouse workers, store clerks, stuff like that. And I was doing office hiring. I actually hired a bookkeeper for a media company in Albany. And I hired a few others too. That was like one of my big ones. I think that was my first one. I did that for 5 months, and the pay was horrible. I mean, every job I took, the pay went down. I went to my first job as a project coordinator, was making decent money. Went to the energy company, I took a $3,000 a year pay cut, which wasn't that horrible, but only worked there 6 months. And then I go work for this other company, and they paid me $10,000 less a year than the first project coordinator job. And I got tired of it. I got tired of looking for people to go out and do work at places where they say they could, where they could get to, where they can do the things they say they can do, where they're going to show up on time every day like they say they're gonna. Finding someone that can do all those things, and even when they say they're going to do them and actually follow through with them, is a challenge. It's really frustrating to make 600 phone calls and line up 100 interviews, and 40 of those interviews show up and 30 of them aren't qualified. And then the other 6 of them, they don't have vehicles when they said they do, and then the other 2 have prior histories with something that makes them not able to do the job. And then you get one person, you get them all set up, you make the phone calls to different companies and do your sales work and get this person a job and line everything up, and the person doesn't fucking show up on their first day. It makes you look like an asshole. I don't know who your human resources person is where you work, any of you. I don't know who your HR department is. Go into work and give those motherfuckers a hug. I'm telling you, there is no nightmare world like HR, and it can make you really cynical towards people. Because you're trying to manage people, and nobody does what the fuck they're supposed to do. They all say shit, everybody. Nobody does it, and then everybody has an excuse. This happened to me, that happened to me. My dog threw up, and I got scared and brought them to the vet. I got everyone's problem is your problem. You're like a work psychologist. It's not like you can just ignore it and say, well, that's your problem, not mine. Technically, it's not. You have to make sure these people work. No, their problem is your problem, and that can become extremely overwhelming, especially when you have bosses screaming at you. So yeah, I had enough of that and decided that I'm that person. I'm the guy that can go to work, show up every single day, and do exactly what I said I was going to do. I can do that. I'm really good at that. It's like my number one superpower. I'm punctual and I work hard all day. That's what I do. And 2, it paid more money. It's something I know how to do, and now it pays more money. But the key is, it doesn't usually last all year. So I can do this for a little bit, but then I'm going to have to go back to an office, or I got to find a place that's willing to find me work all year round. And that's exactly why I told my boss, I don't want more money. I just want more work. At the pay rate I'm at right now, which isn't a whole lot for what I do, I'm actually working pretty cheap. But if I can work all year, I'll be making the same amount of money I was making as a project coordinator. This is what happened when the pandemic happened. It's actually when I lost that first job, went over to the second job, and lost the second job and fought and got the third job. And that was about when the pandemic was ending. And even now, it's still kind of a thing. Everybody's still afraid of COVID.
You throw the remote at me.
Yeah, and then the pandemic happened too. During the pandemic, trying to find people to go to work was ridiculous. I had people walking into my office telling me that they were making more money sitting at home than what I was offering to pay them, or at least comparable. And they're like, yeah, I'm not going to go to work. They'd literally say that to me. And they're making more money than I am. I was going to work in that fucking office, shaking hands with the general public. Nobody ever gave me accolades for being a frontline worker except for my wife. No one else did. No one thought of it that way. But I'm taking interviews. I'm shaking hands. I'm interacting one-on-one with people. And I'm making less money than they are staying at home. Is making less money every single week than these people were staying at home with their unemployment benefits plus the COVID stimulus. And I didn't do it because of the money. I didn't do it because of the job. And the job actually at that point was nothing but a bag of dicks. I was doing it because I was trying to help people. Because you do, right? You go through these hundreds of people and one person shows up and then they don't show up to work and it's extremely frustrating because you got to start all over again. But eventually, every once in a while, you get someone that comes in, says they really need money to help pay for their family. You get them a job. It's 2 weeks before Christmas. And you start getting text messages. Thank you. You have just basically saved my life. You've made my family's Christmas. I can't thank you enough. And I'm not saying that shit happens all the time.
Nobody
Happened
died either on your watch.
2 to 3 times a year. 2 to 3 times a year. And that's not a lot. That makes the rest of the year all worth it. If you can help one person like that and just change somebody's life, that's why I did what I did. And yes, my wife is correct. The best thing I ever did as a construction project manager / coordinator is I was also the guy that was in charge of keeping track of everyone's safety and making sure they were up to date. I'd walk job sites, make sure the job was safe, make sure my guys were equipped. That's the stuff I'm supposed to be doing. You'll never see it written down anywhere. See, if something bad happened, you would see this guy died, that guy died. And everybody would get on my ass, not my bosses, but like the workers, like, oh, I don't want to take that stupid OSHA and blah, 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 and everyone just wants to do what they want. But you'll never see anywhere written down that anyone died. Those 6.5 years that I was there, not one person got not only dead, wasn't even permanently injured or seriously injured. I kept my guys safe at all times. And there were times I was managing just about 100 guys at a time. Yes, nobody died. I haven't killed anybody yet. At least not on accident. Yeah, I could not cope with that HR type job anyway, within the rules anyway. Yeah, no, it was a thing, Scotland. And someday I probably will go back to it. My body isn't going to be able to do construction forever, and I do have, 7 years of office experience. I got one hell of a resume, and technically right now I'm working for myself as a subcontractor, running my own business. So my resume looks fantastic. If I need to go back to work in an office, I can. I just really don't want to right now. I really enjoy working with my hands. I don't have to... There's no working with people and their problems and everything's my fault and never, ever, ever getting a pat on the back or an attaboy. Now, I go to work almost every single day and get a pat on the back. And granted, this new boss, for some reason, it's not that he's blind, it's that he just doesn't freaking pay attention. But everybody else on this job site absolutely loves me already. The plumbers gave me lunch. They're like, hey, man, you work through lunch. You're hungry. You want a piece of pizza? I'm like, well, sure. I've been living off crackers and coffee all day. I'll take a piece of pizza. I took one. I scurried off into the corner like a rat and fucking eating my pizza. Because I'm nervous. I'm socially anxious. And I have work to do over there. So I'm trying to eat my pizza real quick so I can go back to work. And I realized, like, I ran away with my slice of pizza like Gollum. And then, they came walking over a couple minutes later and like, hey, man, there's one last slice in this box. Do you want it? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So I pounded that, and then the guy's kid, the younger one, came up to me with a box of another, like a wing box. And he's like, there's 3 chicken wings in here and a third slice of pizza if you want it. I'm not going to eat it. I was so full when I left on Friday. And I don't even usually like plumbers. These guys earned my respect. They're nice to me. They've actually taken the time and stopped to talk to me and hear a little bit about myself. And they feed the taper. I would love to. The problem is trying to teach a younger generation how to do drywall anymore. My father is the one that taught me how to do what I do. And I didn't start doing it professionally till I was 19. I was on and off jobs when I was little. I did a little bit of work when I was 15. When I was 9, I worked Saturdays with my dad. Like, I was doing it here and there forever. I didn't actually go to work with the expectations of being a full-blown worker daily until I was 19 years old. And I really wasn't a fan. It was hard work. It was messy. It was exhausting, and I wasn't good at it. There was just stuff all over, and I wasn't good, and the workday never seemed to end. It was hot. It was cold. I didn't like it. It was hard work. Eventually, I got good at it. About 6 months in, I actually started to get good at taping. And then you start to get good at something, you start finding an intrinsic value in it. You start, like, getting a dopamine rush every time you start doing something. Then I started to learn to appreciate the job sites themselves. Just walking around the job site, being able to go up onto the roof of this brand new building and take in the view. You get to see things and do things that a lot of other people don't. And I learned to like it after that because everyone, mostly either left me alone or told me how good I was, which always felt nice. And it always felt good to get respect, that kind of respect from my father. But it took a long time to get there. But even then, I always wanted out. That's why I went to college. Now, my dad always did say, go to college and learn a trade. But I never wanted to learn a trade. I just wanted to go to college. But then after that, I went and I did a trade for 10 years, and I was like, well, college is pointless. Now, after a while, I got tired of the cold. I got tired of being on unemployment every single year. That was a big one. I hated being on unemployment for 4 months out of the year, every single winter. It sucked having no money for 1/3 of the year. So I started going to college while I was going to work. And eventually, like I said, I got out, got into an office. But that's what I learned about being in HR. I learned to appreciate what I did before. There's something to be said about working with your hands, with looking back, seeing the work that you've done, feeling that sense of accomplishment, or hearing when you first walk on the job, you're tired, it's still cold, it's dark, you're setting up a light. Hey, my name's Gary. What's your name? Oh, nice to meet you. I just wanted to let you know, you guys do really good work. Like, thanks, guy. I don't know who you are. I don't know what trade you do. Thank you. That stuff's nice, and you don't get that in an office. And you also have to bring your shit home with you when you work in an office. When I work 8 hours, I'm done. My boss wants me to work overtime. Is it time and a half or cash money under the table? If it's not, then I'm going home. That's it. I'm turning off my phone. I'm not worrying about this. I'm not going to worry about Saturdays. When I'm home now after 8 hours. In an office, it don't work like that. You have a company cell phone, got to bring that home with you. Well, you're only doing 200 calls during the day, and you're only getting this much results. So you need to start doing 600 calls every single day. And there's not enough time in the day to do that, so you're going to have to make those calls from home. Nights, weekends. Oh, your salary. So you don't get any more money for it, but that's what you got to do. Oh, somebody else wants to do an interview, but they can't do it until 6 o'clock at night. Well, you're going to have to bring your phone with you and do the interview at 6 o'clock at night, or stay here at the office and work overtime. No, an interview starts at 6. You got to do the interview. You got to do the paperwork. You got to do the onboarding. That's a 2.5 hour process. 2.5 hours. So I won't be out of there until 8:30. Go home, take a shower, go to bed, don't even have time to eat. Nights and weekends, no overtime, no extra money. Your time's not yours. When you work for a salary, most companies feel they own you. Once your salary, it's like, well, we're going to get our money's worth out of this guy. Construction, not like that. A lot of times they will ask you to work late, and they will ask you to do overtime and come in on weekends and shit. But you know what? Usually they pay you for it. Yeah, my God, that's a sport. Alright, it is confirmed. I think that's the second time you've mentioned that. Scotland is one tough son of a bitch. Rugby's no joke. It's like playing tag with machetes. Lopped off your arm, you're it.
That is the worst game of tag I've ever heard.
That's rugby.
And messy.
Rugby is also messy.
I know.
My brother Jim played rugby in college. He bit his tongue in half. He sewed it back on himself.
We had to play it in gym. She made us run home with.
I mean, maybe he didn't have to sew it on himself. He probably could have went to the doctor, but he didn't. Yeah, that shit's nuts. So that's what life's been like for me. I did start a new story. Obviously I'd like to finish it. I'd like to actually finish it this week. I can read a reboot now this coming weekend, which I still might do. But I wouldn't mind having this written and having the option of either narrating it this coming weekend or narrating this and the reboot. So that way I can get, a couple weeks ahead like I used to be again. And I would like to start working towards that. So, and it feels good to be writing again. I just sent myself a great story idea last night. I don't remember what it was, but I DM'd it to myself. So I know I have it. I did that on purpose. I'm like, I am not going to remember this shit tomorrow. I texted it to myself. So, whenever I want to write whatever the hell that story is, that'll be good too. But apparently last night I considered that as good as written. Oh, I remember what it was now. Oh, that is going to be a good story. I got to finish the one I'm writing first, then I'll write that. Feels good to have some inspiration. Yeah, things have been a little bit tough this week, but that's the great thing about rock bottom. You can only go up from there. Well, as you know, dog lover, my wife has 2 accounts, and I was on my wife's laptop last night as me in the party Discord. So I texted my actual account from her laptop account. If I can't do that, sometimes I'll just text random things to my wife, and she'll be like, "What's this?" Story idea. Oh. That way I have it. That also happens quite a bit.
Yep. Is the liquor store stop calling?
They called once for me. At least they stopped calling. They called one time.
twice my lemon
I
chili.
know, but for me, I said. For me. So, I don't know. I see this as an opportunity to push forward. And I said this last Thursday. We're having our bar night. And I said tonight's my night to just kind of forget about all this crap that's going on. And just kind of have fun. Tomorrow, I'm going to push forward with nothing but absolute faith in myself. And know that if I just keep doing what I'm doing and making steps in the right direction, that everything will be fine. Everything will turn out fine. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Worst case scenario, I've already set up my direct deposit. And I've already worked a full week. So my paycheck will be in my bank account this week. So that's a given now. Car's got a full tank of gas. Full tank of gas is just a way to make money. Now I can go out and make money to replace that gas and make more money on top of it. That's the idea. Dad always says, money in the tank is money in the bank. And that's true. Always fill up your gas tank when you get paid, because then now you have your money in your gas tank. Well, thank you. Yeah, I love freedom of sports. I'm your own boss. Yeah, no, that's true. You do play your own boss in sports. And really, I play my own boss now. Like I said, I was a 1099 employee. Now I'm working for this guy. But technically, I'm still a subcontractor. I'm still doing my own work and getting my own money where I get paid. Just now I pay taxes. I can barely afford mine, and I have another one in the shop that's been literally there since July. I got it back for a week and the engine blew again, and my mechanic took it back for free, obviously, and he's been working on it. And I don't know how long that's going to take. Apparently he almost had it this week. He took it for a drive so we could run it through the inspection and stuff, make sure it's doing, got it rebuilt okay. Heard a knocking, and the turbocharger blew again. So you had to rip the whole thing apart, get a whole new turbocharger. Gonna be a thing. Yeah, I have been. I have been since New Year's. I've been back down to one vehicle again. And the Explorer needs work. It's overdue for an oil change. A couple thousand miles. Not like 10,000 miles or anything, but it's a couple thousand miles overdue for an oil change. And check engine lights on. That actually, who knows, could be because of the oil change. Needs to be done. Needs front tires eventually. And my mechanic said he would do the work and just like put it on my tab, pay him later because he knows what's going on right now. Plus I'm trying to pay off for the Subaru. I already gave him $3,000. I don't like doing that. I don't like having zero money and going down to my mechanic. Can you do this for free? I've never done that, and I'm not gonna. Work is 15 minutes away. The Explorer will be fine to get me back and forth to work 15 minutes one way for the rest of the week. And then this weekend, I will bring the car to Dave to have the oil change done. At the very least, just get the oil change done. I'm actually going to stop by his shop tomorrow and tell him I'm getting paid this week. I'll have money at least for the oil change. I don't know what else I'll have, but I'll have money for that. I need an appointment because I can't drop the car off and wait for it to be done. It's the only vehicle I have right now. So, and he'll probably tell me, give me an appointment, I can come down and do it, and he'll give me an update on my Subaru. So, two birds, one stone. And I'll say this. Needs an oil change, yes, but it's synthetic oil. So really right now we're still probably okay Definitely want to get the oil changed as soon as possible. But I don't think it's like going to kill the engine this week. It's like I said, haven't driven it 10,000 miles or anything without an oil changer. And even that I've seen cars do. Usually you don't start damaging an engine until like 12, 14,000 miles without an oil change. You should change it every 3 to 5. You're good to go really with about 7. And that's about what it is, about 7,000 miles. It's about 2,000 miles overdue on synthetic oil. The Explorer does run good. Starts up, no problem. Gets back and forth to work, no problem. Runs good. And I treat her like glass. So there are things to be thankful for. And like I said, the other vehicle is in the shop. And when that one's done, I've already been told I don't have to worry about payment right away. He's just going to give me the vehicle back. So who knows? Like, I could have the Subaru back. It could be 3 months from now, but it could be next week. So I don't know. Point is when things are bleak, a lot of people give up. They try to fight, and they can't fight it. Things are bleak, and they're just like, well, screw it, I can't do anything about it. And they just give up. They fold. They stop doing things. They won't go to work. They won't try. They just don't care anymore. And you can't do that. A lot of the times, if you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, you'll be fine. You just don't stop. Hello, Dexter. How are you? Happy Sunday. I'm going to be closing out the stream in about 13 minutes. So I just want to let everybody know that so you're prepared. That's true. We do movie nights pretty often in the Discord. Probably should do another one of those again shortly. Haven't had one in a while. Though I usually do one for when we go back to camp, but that's April. It seems like such a far way off. We'll figure something out. It is. And keeping going is the best way to keep focused. Like I said, a lot of people, they find that difficult. And even I do at times. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm so perfect. Like, no, I also find it very difficult to just keep going forward sometimes. I went to work on Friday. Not going to lie, my back problems didn't start Friday when I got home. They started Thursday on bar night. I woke up Friday morning. My lower back hurt so bad. And I went to work, and I rolled that joint compound on and troweled it off. And granted, most of the wall all the way around is all windows. So it's all underneath the windows, 4 feet and down. It's all low work. Hundreds and hundreds of feet of it. All low work. Roll the joint compound on, trowel it off. Roll it on, trowel it off. All day Friday. That's why Friday when I got home, when I got out of the car, I couldn't stand up straight. My back was done. Just done. I would actually disagree with that, Dexter. Although back pain is horrible, I would actually say that tooth pain is worse. Back pain you can at least get away from moment to moment. It's not constantly screaming at you. It's something that screams when you move or you go to stand up. Tooth pain, you can't get away from tooth pain. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter if you open your mouth, close your mouth, cover it, use Ambisol. Nothing fixes tooth pain. It's a pain that you can't get rid of, and it's a pain your body doesn't get used to. Like most other pain, you can kind of like starts to like not hurt as much anymore. Yeah, that's not tooth pain. Though back pain does suck. There's no doubt about it. Back pain sucks. But I would argue that tooth pain is even harder. So, but all pain not fun. But again, and as I was working all day Friday, I was trying to convince the guy to let me work Saturday. I was going to pack up my shit, go home, and get ready to go to work Saturday morning. Like I said, I think all pain hurts. My right knee blows up like a balloon. Especially this week when I was kneeling on the floor all week. My right knee, even now, still feels a bit spongy. Yeah, and like a constant back pain, that's gotta suck. But like, I don't know, tooth has nerves that go like right directly to your brain. I've dealt with a fissured tooth so many times. Well, 3 actually, and I don't know. It's a pain I really can't describe. It's like an electric bolt being sent between my mouth and my head all day. All day. You can't get away from it. It's like being in a torture chamber where you're free to move around, but you still just can't get away from it. It's maddening. And it hurts to talk, hurts to breathe, hurts to swallow, hurts to do anything. It just hurts. Yeah, no, tooth pain is shitty. Hi, Devane. How are you? Happy Sunday. I also probably should warn you as well. I'm going to be closing down the stream in about 9 minutes. So I just want to let you know. So I'm like, hi, Devane. Bye, Devane. A big part of it, too, is sitting in this office chair. I don't use my lumbar cushion as often as I should, and that, I don't know. I gotta start remembering, I am 43 years old, or at least I will be, shortly. So, my body is, I like to push it like I'm still 25, but apparently I'm not. Sorry, Fuzzy. I didn't mean to hurt you. Yeah, actually, I've heard of that too. And again, that kind of stuff it's a little bit more complex, and it's something I really have no comparison for. And I really just said, for me personally, the amount of back pain and foot pain, knee pain, whatever, all my other pains, there's a lot that I've dealt with. Tooth pain for me that I've experienced has been the absolute worst. Yeah, no, and again, and I think it's different for everybody, and probably depends on the level of back pain, level of tooth pain, stuff like that. Just for me personally, the tooth pain that I've had in the past it's debilitating. It's completely debilitating and also immobilizing, and you wouldn't think it is, but, and I'm no stranger to pain, but that was horrible. So, and again, it's a personal thing. It's like trying to rate, anything that's individualistic, and you can't. And it's all a matter of perspective and experience. And we all have our own experiences. I got myself some Cheerios and fruit this morning. I haven't had Cheerios with fruit in it in like forever. Since I was like a kid. And I like that. That was good. But this morning, had a cup of coffee, a bowl of cereal, put on some lo-fi, set up blood and beans. This is why I love Sunday mornings. And even though it was 1:30 in the afternoon, it was nice. That's how I like to wake up on Sundays. Maybe next week I can do it a bit earlier, but I actually can feel it, and I felt it this afternoon when I woke up. My body needed it. I really did push myself pretty hard this week, and like I didn't sleep too well on Friday into Saturday because I stayed up late Friday, and then I got up early Saturday to do all that driving. And then when I got home, I had to go out and run errands. I went to like 6 different stores, so I spent like 4.5 hours in the car yesterday. Came home, played some video games for a little bit, and then again, stayed up all night, playing Mario Kart, listening to music, dancing, shit like that, until like 1:30 in the morning, and then I went to bed. Didn't go right to sleep, just went to bed. Probably got to bed at about 2:30, 3 o'clock, somewhere around there, went to sleep, and slept until 1. So body needed rest. Yeah, I know you do. This is very much the stream about nothing. I never expected anybody to look forward to this. This was just like a fun idea I wanted to do. It helps, we can talk about the stories I'm writing on the channel or what's going on, some of the difficulties I'm facing, some of the difficulties you are facing. I like these kinds of streams. I even have little bits of like philosophical enlightenment in there. Like, maybe not this stream, but, like, there's a few in the past. Like, I've said some pretty potent shit. Stuff I should probably go back and listen to because I don't even remember saying it. And that's understandable. Especially somebody who's got to be mobile. I mean, again, what I do is very physically intensive. I also need to be mobile. A lot of the times, though, I find that if I just do it anyway, I end up working through the pain, and the pain goes away, at least until I stop. Then when I stop and sit down for 15 minutes, then it all comes right back. Like I was in pain all day and pushed myself because of through it, in spite of it. And then it all comes back with a vengeance. I feel like everyone's life is a difficulty. I mean, everybody says midlife crisis, right? But, I mean, really look back on your life, anyone's life. Isn't life just a series of crises that we all just kind of get through? I mean, even development is actually measured with life stages and challenges versus rewards. Versus. Everything in life is just a series of crises that you need to overcome, or not, or how will you overcome them? How will you react to them? Will you grow from them? Midlife crisis. That's just a life stage that happens somewhere around midlife. I mean, I hope so. I hope you're right. Everyone says midlife is actually between mid-30s and mid-40s. That's what everyone, at least in America, says. Maybe it's because we eat nothing but fast food. That's our midlife. But I could see that. That's usually... But again, I don't see, like, a midlife crisis. And I've never really seen anyone go through a midlife crisis. I've seen people go through crises in their midlives, but not everybody. And I've seen people go through those same crises at 20, 30, 50, 18. It doesn't really seem to, like, age plays a really big factor. I also still feel like, well, I say that, but really I feel like more like I'm in my 30s. I feel like I'm in my young 30s. That's really about what I feel mentally and physically. And I've been like that my whole life. When I was in my 20s, I acted like a teenager. When I was in my 30s, I acted like I was in my 20s. And when I was in my 40s, now I feel like I'm in my 30s. I'm honestly going to be 50 years old, wondering how the fuck I'm 50. I'm going to be 43 soon. I do not feel 43. I can't imagine how I'm going to feel when I actually turn 50. I'm not going to feel 50. I probably won't even look 50. I don't look 43. Midlife crisis is basically where everybody supposedly goes through in their life and realizes once they get to that point that their life is half over. They have half their life done already and only half their life left. And a lot of the times people will look back on all they've done and all they've accomplished and see that maybe they haven't gotten as far as they thought they were going to when they were younger. So they start, or they're not as young as they used to be. That's why a lot of people in midlife crises will go buy a motorcycle or pull out their varsity football jacket out of the back closet and start acting like they're younger again. They try and recapture those things. And that's why everybody says, I've been going through a midlife crisis because I went back to work construction and I like to have fun and party with my wife and this, that, and the other thing. And yeah, I guess that's valid. But I mean, I could have done that at 30. I could have done that at 50. I could have done that at any point in time. And it's not just because I view my life as half over and I haven't accomplished all that much. It's actually quite the opposite. I look back and take a look at my life and I'm shocked that I've accomplished as much as I have. Yeah, I'm not rich, I'm not perfect, and shit, I'm still struggling at times like I am right now. For the first time in my life, I've got no threat of jail. That's good. And I'm not a criminal. That was just child support payments I had to pay, and I had no problem making them, and I did pay it all off. My kids are now grown. So it's just, that's one of those things I don't have to worry about. Now I got to worry about my bills. I got to worry about my electric. I got to worry about, my rent payment and stuff like that. So things are a little less stressful now. Like I said, I've raised children. My youngest is 14. The last one in the house, and she's incredibly smart and on the level. I have to be a good role model for her, but really the only thing I have left to teach this kid is how to drive. Everything else she has down pat. When I look back on my life, I've done a lot. I'm happy with that. But yeah, I also feel like I'd like to have some fun now because I've earned it. I've raised children. I've come through the other side. So I have some fun. I'm going to call that a midlife crisis. I mean, that's fine. I don't agree. Yep, that does sound like what a midlife crisis would be, but I feel like that's only a midlife crisis because it happened in the middle of your life. And I feel that term gets mislabeled. It's, I don't know. Maybe it is such a common thing that, everybody goes through it, but I think everybody goes through stuff because of life, not just because of some kind of brain alterations. I think life pushes you in that direction because life can be stressful. Life's hard. That's life. But without a challenge, there's no sense of accomplishment. You can't feel like you've done anything unless you've overcome a challenge. And for there to be a challenge, there has to be something difficult to overcome. That's the intrinsic value. That's life. Life is hard, but it's supposed to be hard. That's how it's valuable. Without it, the difficulty, it wouldn't be valuable. It'd be worth nothing. And I guess on that note, it is time for me to end the stream. Get dressed, get eggs, coffee, and get that Confronting Evil episode narrated. So, yeah. See? That's exactly what I'm doing. Just wasn't a long time ago. It was recently. It was last year. And I left the freaking highway of life a long time ago and went off-road, and now I'm just having fun. Basically. I gotta make sure that, my wife is taken care of, though. That's important. I'd like to get back on the books, get some money saved, get us prepared to move someplace in a few years once Shiloh is gone and moved out, and get myself some life insurance. So that way if something happens to me, my wife can be at least somewhat taken care of. Alright, I love you all. Thank you so much for stopping in and listening to me talk about myself and all these random things. I would say this is probably not the most enlightening Blood and Beans, but very real and down to earth, and I'm happy with that. So, on that note, love you all. Please enjoy your Sunday. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me today. It's always a pleasure and an honor. And please be safe out there. Relax. Enjoy some downtime if you got it. And as always, we'll see you this coming Saturday for the new Confronting Evil. And stay creepy.